This boy gets beaten every single day. He has no father to protect him, and those kids are ruthless. They beat him so badly that every day he returns to his mother barely able to walk. She comforts and heals him as best as she can, but it repeats again and again, until one day, when just beating this poor boy isn't enough, they bring poisonous needles. While one huge boy pushes him to the ground so he can't move, another one stabs him. The poison immediately spreads through his body, and his eyes fill with blood. Then they just leave him there to die in the middle of nowhere. Our boy can't tell how much time has passed. Rain starts pouring, but he still can't move. He feels death creeping in, but remembering his mother, he just can't give up. Who would protect her then? He begs the heavens for not much, just the strength to protect his mother and live a normal life. Suddenly, with a strike of thunder, a sword falls right in front of him, and strangely, it feels utterly familiar. He gathers all his remaining strength and grabs the handle. A flood of memories fills his mind. This same sword used to belong to him in his past life. He trained with it for 100 years straight and mastered every movement to the level of a true sword god. And now that he's remembered everything and regained his past powers, he'll finally be able to live a normal life. The next morning, his mother rushes toward our protagonist, asking where he thinks he is going after coming in so injured yesterday. Instead of being discouraged, he tells her not to worry and assures nothing bad will happen. He smiles and waves at her, promising to be back. Meanwhile, standing by a tree, the bully wonders if Yeon-myung is avoiding them today. Another bully replies that they'd beat him up quite badly, so he probably doesn't want his mother to see him in a sorry state. The first bully laughs, saying that if he shows up, they will beat him thoroughly, and if he doesn't, they will gather the kids to mock him. Just then, another bully turns, announcing our boy is coming. Ryong jumps down from the tree, reminding him that he is really late, and she thought he wasn't going to show up. Our hero faces them with a blank expression. The boy bully approaches, noting that Yeon-myung must have had a hard time but asking why he looks unharmed. My guy acts like a Chad he is, claiming that much will not hurt him. Moon-chan and the other bullies are amazed at his audacity. In response, Jeon-gil clenches his teeth in anger, suggesting he needs a hot compress. He starts twisting his wrist, ready to fight. Surprisingly, our boy thanks Jeon-gil. When she hears her name, she cuts him off and claps, her cheeks nearly blushing. She asks what the occasion is and why Yeon-myung is calling them by their names today. Soon, her words turn evil as she questions if yesterday's poison wasn't enough, and if they should double the dose. Jeon-gil gets angry and shouts, asking why our hero isn't paying attention to the person in front of him. He raises his hand to punch our boy, but in a flash, Yeon-myung puts a hand on his face and slams him onto the ground. The other bullies are amazed. As a result of the power, the impact creates a huge depression in the earth. They wonder how Jeon-gil got knocked down in one hit. As far as Ryong is concerned, Yeon-myung was supposed to be untrained in martial arts. Moon-chan also worries, saying he doesn't know what happened. Our boy believes that there is no reason he cannot do what they can. He then reminds them they are participating in the clan leader competition, and asks if they intend to enter with their current skills. Our hero starts walking toward them, emitting such a strong aura that even the bullies are scared. Moon-chan clenches his teeth, thinking Yeon-myung seems like a completely different person overnight. Nevertheless, he tells himself to calm down, reasoning that Jeon-gil got caught off guard. He convinces himself that after training for years, they will not lose to someone like him. With a roar, Moon-chan shouts a challenge, leaping into the air with his knife and dashing down toward our protagonist. However, in midair, our hero catches his hand, breaking his weapon. He declares that if the level of the participants is like this, the competition for the clan leader is pretty much decided. Finally, our boy twists Moon-chan's hand, completely defeating him. The hidden poison hall, once the seat of the clan leader, now serves as the council room for the elders. An elder addresses the assembly. Since everyone has gathered, the meeting should commence. He notes that the participants for the upcoming young clan leader competition appear to have been finalized. Because of this, he proposes a final decision regarding the participation of Tang Yeon-myung, the son of the Poison Phoenix. Although Yeon-myung has not officially announced his participation, it is well known that the other children have openly beaten him. Not to mention, he has shown no achievements. That is why he assumes there should be no objection to excluding him. However, a member argues that excluding our protagonist, who carries the blood of the previous clan leader, might raise questions about the legitimacy of future competitions. The elder acknowledges the concern but insists it would be a greater problem if someone unskilled were to lower the level of the competition. Even if our hero is of the previous leader's blood, he now amounts to nothing but a burden. Just then, the door slams open, shocking everyone. Our boy enters, dragging Tang-young Ryong behind him. The elders demand to know what he is doing. Yeon-myung presents the injured Ryong, her eye completely red, a clear sign she has been poisoned. When asked for an explanation, he reveals that he is fully aware of his actions. The members are horrified to witness this unprecedented sight. The boy makes himself clear. He has endured suppression in the Tang clan for too long, and he no longer intends to endure anything. In response, a member shouts, asking how he could harm a child participating in the competition. Another stresses that harming a competitor is a serious crime. But as far as our boy is concerned, he is fully aware of the family rules. so he questions whether there is any problem with a fight between participants. The elder demands clarification, asking if he truly intends to participate. Yeonmyoung, however, believes that his actions are proof enough. He suggests they check the open ground outside, where Moon-chan and Jong-gil, who used to bully him, are lying. He has simply followed the family rule, repaying kindness twofold and revenge tenfold. After he speaks, silence fills the hall. The elder clenches his fist in anger, but eventually acknowledges that Yeonmyoung has proven his worth. Other members protest, arguing he is exploiting the rules and endangering others. However, the elder raises his hand, silencing them. He declares that Yeonmyoung shall participate. They have no right to block a qualified child. Still, he warns that he hopes Yeonmyoung's confidence matches his skill, for if he does not become the young clan leader, he will pay for what happened today. Later, Yeonmyoung tells everything to his mother. She is tense, asking how he could do such a thing, but he explains it was necessary. She realizes from his decisive tone that this is not just an outburst. Reflecting on his name Myeong, meaning to survive as long as possible, she recognizes that she thought he was still a child, but she now senses the presence of a great man. Once she realizes this, she kneels, holding his hand, and states she will not question him ever how he learned his techniques. Though she wants to know only one thing: is he confident about competing? Our boy smiles, reminding her that he is the Poison Phoenix's son. His words make her emotional, and she hugs him, expressing her pride. Hugging his mother, our protagonist thinks her embrace is warm. Consequently, he vows to protect his ordinary life and eliminate anything that disturbs it. 1 month later, in the garden, Tang Jihye walks with Tang Jiokhui, the Dark King's great leader. He considers leaving things as they are, especially since the competition is not child's play. She smiles, telling him to let Yeonmyoung be, confident that our hero has his reasons. In turn, Jiokhui also acknowledges the boy's mentality and courage are unbelievable for his age. She thanks him for protecting Yeonmyoung so far. Even so, Jiokhui admits he had to step in, but wonders if it is really okay for our boy not to train separately. Meanwhile, our protagonist sits in his room, meditating. He reflects on his routine, eating clean meals, sleeping well, and using internal methods to correct his twisted chi paths. You see, simply honing strength and skill is unnecessary right now for someone who is awakened as a swordmaster. For that reason, he believes it is essential to fortify the vessel first. He places his hand on the ground, thinking that at the tender age of 12, his meridians are not heavily blocked. Balancing on one finger, Yeonmyoung concludes that as his level increases, his transformation will occur naturally. Finally, competition day arrives. Our boy enthusiastically tells his mother he is leaving, and she tells him to take care. Tang Jiokhui also bids farewell to his sister, and then our hero and Jiokhui depart. From behind, the mother watches them, wishing Tang Longriang could see how well their son has grown. At the Dark King Hall, many participants arrive. Our guy is busy eating, noting they arrived early. Just then, a group of boys approaches, recognizing him as the son of the Poison Phoenix who beat up Moon-chan. However, they dismiss it as a false rumor, claiming he couldn't even learn martial arts. Because of this, they decide they need to instill some discipline. Our protagonist, annoyed, throws a rice cake at the leader's face. The force of the impact knocks the boy to the ground. The others shout, wondering if he used a hidden weapon. Soon, one realizes it is just a half-eaten rice cake and wonders how it could be so powerful. Yeonmyoung mocks them, challenging the group by asking if they will run away despite being participants. Enraged, the group attacks him all together, but our boy doesn't even flinch. From the other side, Tang Jiokhui approaches and sees a body thrown into mid-air. He runs toward our hero, only to find the whole group lying on the ground. Yeonmyoung sits on top of the pile, eating a rice ball. He asks Jiokhui if he has arrived, stating he was getting bored. He smiles, telling the leader not to misjudge, as they started it. Afterwards, Jiokhui facepalms. In the council, people shout at the Grand Elder. They are unsure how they can overlook so many injuries just before the competition. In light of this, Elder Seok-jung suggests changing the rules. Outside, participants gather in line. One girl whispers, asking how the competition is conducted, so another girl explains the process. 2 to 3 years of training followed by one-on-one duels. On stage, Tang Jiokhui calls for silence. He introduces himself as the overseer and explains the order. 3 years of practice, followed by the main competition. Suddenly, the elder enters the stage and announces that it will be conducted as a goo poison match. Everyone is shocked. As they know, a goo poison match refers to placing strong poisons in a jar to fight until only the most potent remains, a battle royale where only one survives. The elder explains that due to the unfortunate incidents causing numerous dropouts, they cannot proceed with standard duels. Naturally, Jiokhui realizes this is happening because of our boy. The elder states that to prevent further incidents, they changed the format. As a result, the students are clearly angry, blaming Yeonmyoung. The elder says the position is vital to the Tang family's future. He commands them to fight, survive, and conquer, promising the victor will possess everything. Our guy looks at his opponents with a smirk. Now that he realizes only one competitor will survive, He thinks to himself that it does not seem difficult at all. At night, a secret meeting takes place at the Dark Moon Sword Sect camp within the Black Death Alliance territory in Sichuan province. One of the men thanks everyone for gathering, then asks them to listen carefully regarding the recent schemes of the Tang family. In response, the other men at the round table inquire if he is referring to the young clan leader competition. The third man confirms this, stating that their spies reported the competition started a few days ago, and consequently, the participants, the children with the potential to lead the Tang family, have already left in carriages. They discuss how the current Tang family is weak enough that their leader, Yu Gil-jun of the Black Death Alliance, could destroy them anytime. However, the speaker explains that Yu Gil-jun is leaving them alone for now, because they still have some use. He points out that these children are the future of the family. Therefore, if anything happens to them, it will deal a permanent blow to the Tang family. The men agree with the elder of the Dark Moon Sword Sect, but a member warns that they must remain careful, asking when they should act. The elder replies that for now, they will do nothing, which serves to shock the other members. The elder believes that tracking the carriages and killing the weak birds right now would be too easy, and thus not a painful enough blow. He reminds them that the competition runs for 4 years, asking them to imagine the devastation if all the carefully raised children die right at the climax. With a grin, the masked man smirks, agreeing that it would indeed be a fatal blow. Another member suggests letting the Jigal family or the Moyang family handle it. The Dark Moon elder, Makinhu, agrees, deciding that they will just track the carriages and make their move after 4 years. The tracking is already arranged, and has already planted a small seed to ensure the Tang family falls entirely into their hands. Meanwhile, at the common mountain venue for the competition, the instructor leads the group forward. The man announces that although the rules changed, the schedule remains the same. So participants will be called by number instead of names. Since they are Group 7, the instructor turns and realizes one is missing. Looking back, he asks number 28, who is our protagonist, why he is lagging behind. Yanmyang apologizes for the lag, as he was just thinking for a moment. The instructor scolds him even with his apology, warning him not to fall behind. As they walk, our boy wonders why the person leading them doesn't sense it. He feels a presence behind them, certain they are being tailed. Suddenly, as they move forward, they stop in front of a huge cliff. From the cliff, a voice demands the password from Group 7. The instructor answers with, Poison King of Hidden Poison, and a light shines, confirming the code. Immediately, a figure steps out from the rock face, holding a hand fan. He introduces himself as Jigal Changshin, stating he is here to assist in their competition. The students realize that the Jegal family was once one of the 5 great families, famous masters of formations, but they fell due to the invasion of the Heaven's Brilliance Demon Lord. The group walks inside the cliff, and they are surprised to see a beautiful landscape hidden within. Jegal Changshin explains they use their formations to stop outsiders from interfering with the competition. Naturally, Yuri is amazed, realizing this is the famous formation technique of the Jegal family. Aijun is also impressed, noting that inside the formation, you cannot tell the season or space. While the group starts crossing a wall of lightning, Mirio looks at our boy from the side. She thinks he is acting strange and not concentrating, remembering he was behaving the same way earlier in the carriage. Looking back at a flashback to the carriage ride, the instructor told the children to introduce themselves. Yuri looked at our hero, noting everyone knows about the fight he had. Aijun then told our boy he is quite famous for leaving Tang Young Ryong in such a bad state. Yuri finds our protagonist bold for his actions. She warns him that he might not be safe during the 4 years of the competition, given Tang Young Ryong's great-grandfather is one of the 3 elders. At that point, Yanmyang interrupted, asking if they were blaming him for the competition turning into a goo poison match. Mirio refused to let the issue go. Given his smug face, she is unsure if that looked like the face of someone who felt sorry. Instead of apologizing, our boy smirked, making Mirio even angrier. Back in the present, Mirio watches our hero while walking. She vows that if this guy causes another problem, she won't let it slide. Suddenly she bumps into Yuri because everyone stops moving. Both Yuri and Aijun look terrified, realizing that Jigal Changshin, their guide, has completely disappeared. To their surprise, our boy moves forward and tries to touch the empty air. Mirio wonders what he is doing. She finds it strange that he looks so relaxed. Meanwhile, Jigal Changshin walks down the road alone. In his mind, he assumes the kids must be panicking inside the formation by now. After all, he knows that inside the Jegal family's 7-lock Phantom Dome formation, there is no escape without the caster. He recalls the elder promised to double the support for the Jegal family if he eliminates number 28. But suddenly, to Jigal Changshin's surprise, the air behind him cracks open. From the crack, the 4 kids peek out. Changshin completely freaks out, shouting in confusion. Our boy questions the possibility with instructor Jigal what will happen if he leaves them behind. Changshin is speechless, then quickly lies and claims he made a mistake. Yuri turns toward our protagonist, asking how he did that, to which he simply says he cut it. As far as Mirio is concerned, this isn't the time to worry about that, telling everyone not to lose instructor Jegal Changshin again. But when they look back, Changshin is already gone again. They shout that he disappeared, causing our boy to let out a deep sigh. While running away, the instructor thinks he is pathetic, fleeing inside his own formation. Soon he sees a shining light, realizing it is the exit leading to the training ground. He escapes the formation, thinking this should be enough. But then, a voice alerts him. It is Tang Wanjin, the supervisor for Group 7. The instructor gets really scared, so he lies and says it seems Group 7 will not be participating, explaining they didn't show up. But just then, the air behind them starts cracking. From the other side of the formation, our hero stabs his dagger into the crack, and the crack shatters into pieces like glass. Jegal Changshin watches in disbelief as the Jegal family's supreme technique, the 7-lock phantom dome formation, breaks so easily. Finally, Yeonmyoung looks at the instructor with red, glowing eyes. Mirio, amazed, wonders how our hero broke the formation with just a short sword, asking how that is even possible. Our boy explains that he didn't break the formation. Instead, he only opened a gap. He then warns it will close soon, so they should hurry and leave. From the front, the supervisor shouts, asking if they are the participants of Group 7. The students confirm it but ask who he is, until one of them notices the Tang family crest on his hood. The supervisor says he was worried they were attacked, just like the instructor said. Hearing this, Yeonmyoung turns toward the instructor and repeats the word attack, sarcastically. The instructor is clearly shaking with fear. Our protagonist smirks, suggesting the instructor must have misunderstood them for being lost. Thanks to him for marking the entrance, they found their way easily. Yeonmyoung suspects the instructor is acting under orders from the Tang family elders for now, but decides to let it be since it is just a guess. However, he vows that if he finds out after the competition that the instructor worked with the elders, he will destroy the Jegal clan completely. In response, the instructor laughs with a shaking voice, apologizes for making a mistake, and says he will go check the broken formation. With that, he runs away quickly. The supervisor then welcomes them for arriving safely, apologizing for the noise and the lack of an escort. He introduces himself as Tang Wanjin, a member of the Bongui Brigade, responsible for their training during the competition. The Bongui Brigade is a direct military force that served under the former young clan leader of the Tang family. Because each member is as powerful as a great leader, they are one of the Tang family's strongest elite forces. Mirio watches Yeonmyoung pick his nose and feels irritated, especially as she remembers that the previous young clan leader was his mother, the Poison Phoenix. After flicking a booger away, our boy asks why Tang Wanjin is not in the Tang family main house. The supervisor explains that years ago, they fought a desperate battle to protect their master, the Poison Phoenix, against Heaven's brilliant demon lord, but were destroyed. And since they failed to protect their master, they are nothing but sinners. Students stare nervously at the word sinner, but the supervisor continues explaining the rules. The first year is for self-practice, allowing them to train however they want, and they will receive martial arts books or teachings based on performance. A student asks about the legendary technique of the Tang family, the 10,000 Heavenly Flower Rain, which was lost during the fight with the Demon Lord. The supervisor confirms the 10,000 Heavenly Flower Rain is guaranteed to the one who becomes the young clan leader. Although it is incomplete, the elders have passed down the essence of the technique. As a result, our boy thinks about the 10,000 Heavenly Flower Rain. He knows it is a technique that handles many hidden weapons like a strong rain, similar to sword control techniques, and consequently wonders if he can mimic it. The supervisor says he has talked too much, telling them to focus only on training. He also clarified they can train together or alone freely. Mirio asks where they will sleep, to which the supervisor says they will sleep in nature to learn how to survive in the forest. Of course, this scares the kids. The supervisor asks if they thought they would be training in comfortable beds, arguing that comfort does not make them strong. That's why adapting to extreme environments is the priority. He raises his fist and tells them to start practicing based on their own judgment. While the three kids are shaking with fear, our protagonist remains relaxed. Yeonmyoung interrupts and asks if it is okay to live comfortably and sleep in a nice bed if he is qualified. After all, nutrition is important for growing kids. He also feels that adapting to the forest seems unnecessary. Once again, the kids clench their teeth, shocked at his arrogance. The supervisor thinks for a moment, seeing our boy as the definition of arrogance. Even though the other kids get mad at him, the supervisor agrees to the deal. He says if our hero passes a test, he can stay in the manor inside the formation. But if he fails, he better be prepared. Yeonmyoung agrees. The supervisor then announces the test is simple. Team members will surround him and throw hidden weapons. Suddenly the scene changes. Our boy stands in the middle, while around him, on the ground, in the trees, and on the cliff, men are waiting. The supervisor explains the test. If our protagonist manages to block or dodge the weapons within 5 steps while blindfolded, he passes. Once he wraps a blindfold around his eyes, the man above the cliff prepares his blades. Every man in position gets alert. The other students wonder if this is even possible, noting that no one is moving yet. Mirio wonders if they are waiting to increase the pressure. Suddenly, everyone throws their weapons at our hero from all directions. Yeonmyoung stands completely still, counting all the blades thrown at him. He thinks it is a bit much, but still a simple task. He takes out his dagger and uses a technique called attachment. Consequently, he blocks all the attacks with his own dagger. Attachment is a principle of martial arts often overlooked, falling under categories like depth, weight, speed, and change. The specific art of ascension contains breaking, scattering, attachment, cutting, and sharpness. For Yeonmyoung, who realized these principles through the sword in his previous life, this is easy. But for those who haven't reached enlightenment, it is shocking. Our hero deflects every single blade. None of them touch him. In fact, none even come an inch close to him. Everyone is shocked, and the supervisor cannot understand what happened. Just with a single movement, all the hidden weapons were repelled, attracted, and neutralized. The students ask what they just witnessed, unable to believe all the weapons were stopped with one swing. Then, our protagonist takes off his blindfold and asks if he passed. Students watch the supervisor, who is distracted by his thoughts, until they shout to get his attention. The supervisor coughs and admits our boy passed. He tells him he may go to the manor and rest. As Yeonmyoung flips his dagger, the supervisor thinks a monster seems to have appeared. Mirio, meanwhile, is annoyed and jealous, so she shouts, asking if he plans to leave his team behind to enjoy comfort alone. The Chad ignores her. He looks straight ahead with a smile and wonders aloud if the manor offers different meals as well. Naturally, the students are further annoyed seeing him tease them like this. The supervisor thinks it is good that the other team members haven't lost motivation, but he feels the battle for the clan leader position is already decided before the competition even begins. Maybe this kid is the one. Suddenly our boy stops walking, turns around, and reminds his instructor to include meat with every meal because he needs to eat well to grow. Later, a pack of wolves descends upon the carcass of a dead bear, eager to feast. However, the moment they sink their teeth into the meat, they begin to cough violently, blood spurting from their mouths as they collapse, foaming at the mouth. At that moment, from the shadows, a student lunges forward and finishes them off. After dealing with the wolves, the group rests inside a cave for the night. Yuri is delighted that the paralysis poison she prepared worked perfectly. Ijun also agrees, noting that if she continues performing like this, they should be fine. Additionally, Mirio compliments him, saying his poison-making skills are impressive, and his rainstorm technique is not ordinary either. All three sit around the fire with gloomy faces, waiting for the meat to cook. While waiting, Yuri reflects that it has already been 4 months. She recalls how on their first day, they were preoccupied with running away, and their first encounter was with a bear. She laments that they could not even find prey initially and had to survive on grass roots while shedding tears. Eventually, however, they succeeded in hunting and finding shelter. Suddenly, Ijun wonders aloud if Yeonmyoung is living comfortably by now. The mere mention of Yeonmyoung's name triggers Mirio, who shouts at him not to bring that guy up. Ijun admits he is just curious. She swears that once he goes to the manor, he will get what he deserves. Internally, though, Ijun thinks differently. Considering the performance Yeonmyoung showed earlier, he wonders just how strong he must have become if he has continued training all this time. Just then, Mirio notices something wrong and asks where their meat went. They turn to the fire, only to find the skewers empty. It turns out Yuri has already consumed every bit of it. She burps loudly, satisfied with the meal, and, noticing their death glares, asks why they are looking at her like that. Naturally, Mirio and Ijun explode in rage, screaming at her for asking such an obvious question. Meanwhile, at the Gangdong Mountain's 7-lock Phantom Dome Formation stronghold, Yeonmyoung stands in the center of the training grounds, encircled by dozens of armed warriors. Instructor Woojin gives the order to begin, and immediately, 2 warriors rush at him from different sides. Yeonmyoung lands a swift kick on one, but while he is momentarily distracted, the rest of the group lunges with their weapons. However, he sees every micro-movement. Before their blades can reach him, he vanishes. The warriors are shocked, looking around in confusion until suddenly, Yeonmyoung appears above them in mid-air, wearing rings on all 10 fingers. He declares it is time to test his new technique. He crosses his hands, eyes glowing green. Then, as the warriors brace themselves, Yeonmyoung throws all 10 rings downward. The warriors are confused by the scattered weapons, but suddenly the rings transform in mid-air. They turn into sharp circular spinning blades, attacking before anyone can react. Yeonmyoung commands them to spin, and consequently, the rings move in a wild, chaotic pattern, executing the whirling line frenzy dance. Instructor Woojin watches in disbelief and realizes that Yeonmyoung neutralized the trained members in an instant. Moreover, he controlled the power of such a wide-range attack to only nick everyone's skin, avoiding fatal injuries. Woojin approaches, holding one of the rings, and asks if Yeonmyoung created this technique himself. Yeonmyoung confirms it, naming the move Whirling Line Frenzy Dance. Woojin is impressed. After all, it would be nearly impossible to escape if caught in that radius. Not to mention, maintaining such a technique must consume a massive amount of internal energy, so it's baffling how he even managed it. In response, Yeonmyoung explains that he once asked for the manual on eye techniques. Woojin nods, recalling there were the piercing sky eyes and the current flow eyes. He remembers recommending the piercing sky eyes because the other technique was known to be incomplete, but Yeonmyoung reveals that he has mastered the current flow eyes. Needless to say, Woojin is stunned. He thinks to himself that the current flow eyes is one of the oldest techniques of the Tang family, yet this outsider mastered it. Yeonmyoung explains that although the essence was missing, he realized the technique was part of an ascendant martial art. By using the current flow eyes, he can see the perfect trajectory, allowing him to shoot the weapons precisely with minimal internal energy usage. At this point, nothing surprises Woojin anymore. He admits that Yeonmyoung filled in the missing essence by exploring on his own. Changing the subject, Woojin mentions that in 2 months, the kids from his team will arrive to undergo the same test. He reveals that they have already proven they have the skill to take the test, but they insisted on returning only after they were more polished. Yeonmyoung smiles as he finds it interesting. He is genuinely excited to see how strong those friends have become. Watching him walk away, Woojin wonders if Yeonmyoung was actually worried about his teammates. Meanwhile, Yeonmyoung looks up at the sky, thinking about fate. In his past life, his only connection was his master, the sword ghost. Now, despite his origins and actions, new connections are forming, creating what could be considered part of an ordinary life. Because of this, he thinks of his team members, realizing that for some reason, he wants to see them too. Back in the cave, the chaotic battle continues as Mirio and Ijeon scold Yuri for eating all the meat. Finally, 2 months later, the team is ready to advance to the next stage. They are pumped up as they walk toward the stronghold. Mirio reflects that on the first day of training, they were just novices, but now they have attained a completely different level of power. In fact, Ijeon admits he is actually excited to meet Yeonmyoung again, while Yuri grumbles that she will split his head in half. From behind, the rest of the trainees look at the trio, whispering that they are pretty scary. The team then enters the hall of the Gangdong Mountain stronghold. Mirio shouts at the top of her lungs, demanding Tang Yeonmyoung to come out right now. However, the hall is silent. Mirio looks around, wondering why it is so quiet, and she laughs, asking if he ran away out of fear. Yuri clicks her tongue, saying it is too bad because she wanted to smash his head. Mirio turns around, yelling again that he has been too quiet, but suddenly she freezes. Yeonmyoung is standing right behind her, casually resting a hand on her shoulder. He whispers that he was hiding to surprise them. He then smirks, asking exactly what they were planning to do to his head, calling them cuties. The 3 students stare in shock as our boy continues speaking. He asks if they were talking about smashing his head earlier, then jokingly wonders if they want to see the results of their training, or if he should attack first. In response, Mirio and Yuri both shout that they were just joking. Mirio bites her lip, thinking to herself. She realizes they didn't even notice him until they turned around, and consequently, she wonders if this is the difference in their skills, even after all the time spent in the forest sharpening their senses. Our hero suddenly hugs Yuri, catching Mirio's attention. She studies him, wondering what he has done during this time. At that moment, she notices Yeonmyoung has grown taller. His face looks different too. The girl blushes but quickly scolds herself, questioning why she is thinking this way. Our boy reassures her not to be discouraged, explaining that even from his perspective, they've become much stronger than before. However, he adds that they just seem less impressive because he is there. Because of this, the 3 look irritated, thinking his annoying self-confidence never changes. Meanwhile, inside the hall at the round table, instructor Jagal Changshin calls everyone to gather. He asks if there was anyone of note in their groups, to which one instructor mentions participant number 2, saying she has shown notable growth compared to others. He explains that, rather than a will to become stronger, she seems to be burning with immense hatred for someone and feeds on that emotion. Another instructor brings up participant number 10, who passed the warrior test in just a month. Meanwhile, Changshin thinks to himself. He admits number 2 and number 10 stand out. However, after facing number 28, Yeonmyoung, they seem ordinary. He recalls how shocked he was when our protagonist broke out of the formation and demonstrated skills that even masters could not perform. Nevertheless, Changshin decides recruiting number 28 is too risky because the boy seems to have noticed his scheming. When an instructor asks if Changshin is all right, Changshin lies, claiming his group did not have anyone outstanding. He decides to exclude number 28 from the discussion since they need a puppet they can control. Instead, he suggests recruiting number 2. He plans to introduce her to his nephew, mentioning that he heard number 2 has a disfigured face from an injury, so it should not be difficult to manipulate her heart. Changshin explains his plan. If they help this child win and engage her to his nephew, the Jegal family will officially become the external family of the Tang family head. Eventually, they will merge the Tang family with their main house. With that, he concludes the meeting. While walking out, Changshin thinks to himself that number 28 is too valuable to lose. That's why he decides that if our hero survives the competition, he will tempt him with revenge, adopt him as a son, and offer him the position of Jegal family young clan leader. Sometime later, inside the manor, Mirio feels happy. Although their training has doubled, Nothing matches the comfort of a good night's sleep. She turns to Yuri and asks if Ijeon and Yeonmyeong went to the lab today. Yuri responds positively, adding that Ijeon stormed in there, grinding his teeth and vowing to kill. Inside the lab, Ijeon smirks. He holds up a vial and says this is the poison he put his whole soul into making. Suddenly, our guy takes the bowl of poison and drinks it straight away. Ijeon goes haywire, asking why he drank that much. He calls him a maniac and shakes Yeonmyeong violently, until our hero feels like he is going to faint from the shaking. Foam forms in his mouth, but then our boy burps right in Ijeon's face. Ijeon falls to the ground in shock, while our protagonist feels immune to the poison. He smirks, asking if the poison is weaker than expected. Because of this, Ijeon almost starts crying, shouting that it is a poison that could melt his insides and wonders why he is still okay. Our guy teases him, suggesting maybe his poison just isn't that good. Naturally, this makes Ijeon furious. He screams, questioning why our hero isn't dying. Outside the door, Mirio and Yuri listen to the shouting and guess it isn't working. Afterwards, our boy drinks another bowl. Ijeon tells him not to drink poison like it is booze, but our protagonist asks if there is more because it doesn't affect him at all. Ijeon slams his fist in anger, wondering if our hero is immune to everything. In the meantime, Yeonmyeong wipes his lips and thinks. He knows it is different from being immune. Rather, it is the Tang family core technique, the poison refining madness. He believes that if they are named poison masters, they should be able to control even the poisons that enter them. As expected, the poisons that entered his body transformed into internal energy. That is why, within a certain limit, poisons are no different from an elixir for our boy. However, he knows this state can only be achieved through deep understanding. He realizes that weak poisons hardly increase his internal energy now, so he needs stronger ones. He thinks about the dangers ahead. Yeonmyeong knows he cannot guarantee victory if the Black Death Alliance or the Heaven's Brilliant Demon Lord were to invade. He has no personal grudge against the Black Death Alliance, but since they divided Sichuan City, he cannot ignore them. Their leader is called a genius who destroyed 3 of the 9 factions. Therefore, to live as a human, our boy needs to become as strong as he was in his previous life. Ijeon, exhausted, mutters that if only he could create the Tang family's 10 poisons. Our hero turns and asks what he just said. So Ijeon explains that the 10 poisons are the strongest poisons passed down from their ancestors. He says the higher the number, the stronger the poison. However, most formulas were lost to time. He mentions that the 10th poison was so potent that even masters of the transcendent level were affected. Yeonmyeong is shocked, thinking that a poison that affects transcendent level masters is worth coveting. He asks Ijeon if he can prepare the 10th poison, but Ijeon argues it is impossible because the formula is lost. Our guy feels sad because Ijeon's current poison doesn't even give him a sensation anymore. This pisses Ijeon off, and he warns that the 10th poison is so dangerous it is forbidden, saying even our boy wouldn't survive drinking it. Meanwhile, at night, participant number 2 fights a man who chokes her neck. Black fumes come from the man's mouth as he asks what she did to him. He coughs and fire emits from his mouth. Then she asks him to repeat it. She mocks his face as fire erupts from his eyes and mouth. He shouts and lunges toward her, but before he can reach her, his hand breaks like a piece of stone. He falls to the ground and completely shatters. She smirks, noting he was burned to ashes in an instant. In addition, she marvels at the power of the poison given by her grandfather, revealing that this is the Tang family's 10th poison. She touches her disfigured face, saying the pain she experienced that day is unforgettable. Once again, she vows to keep wasting this rage and pain. She flips her hair away from her eyes, revealing she is Tang Young Ryong. Finally, with a smirk, she promises to torment Yeonmyeong plenty in the goo poison match. The next day, the supervisor, Tang Woojin, addresses the team. He notes that another year has passed since their training, and explains that, up to this point, he has been refining their martial arts. But the real challenge begins today. Specifically, he announces that they will decide on a team leader. The students look shocked, so Woojin clarifies that they will appoint a temporary leader for now. However, by the 3rd year, they will officially elect a leader to represent them in the goo poison match. He adds that, since it is a life-or-death battle, the most outstanding participant should lead. After hearing this, Yuri notes that not all participants go to the goo match, and Mirio realizes this means the latecomers will die. She says the choice should be based on achievements, and consequently points to participant 28, Tang Yeonmyeong. Ijeon agrees, stating our boy is the leading contender, so the supervisor asks if there are any objections. Everyone remains silent. Then, the supervisor calls number 28 forward to accept a reward. He presents a small chest containing a pill, explaining that it is the Heavenly Heart Pill, an elixir made from 100-year-old ginseng that significantly increases internal energy. The other members are shocked that such a precious item is given to Yeonmyeong. The supervisor explains it is a privilege for the team leader because the Tang family has high expectations for them. Internally, however, he believes his expectations for Yeonmyeong are even higher. Our protagonist asks if there is anything else, at which Woo Jin looks confused. Our boy then asks if he can receive something other than the elixir, because he doesn't need it. Naturally, this angers the other members. They shout at him, asking if he knows its worth and telling him to hand it over if he won't eat it. The supervisor thinks refusing an elixir is unlikely unless someone's internal energy is already full, so he asks what Yeonmyoung wants instead. Our hero replies that he wants the Tang family's 10 poisons. Later, the team gathers in Yeonmyoung's room, staring at a pile of weapons. Mirio asks if this is all he bought and demands to know where the elixir is. Holding a blade, our boy explains he couldn't get the poisons, so he took these instead. Mirio tries to punch him, but he dodges, causing her to shout and call him a fool. Yuri says they should respect his choice, and Ijeon adds that the elder will be pleased to save the pill. Our protagonist interrupts, revealing he hasn't returned the pill yet. The scene shifts hours earlier. The supervisor hands the weapons to our boy, asking if he is sure. Our hero says he regrets not getting the poison, but this is sufficient. When the supervisor asks if he needs anything else, our boy asks what the plan is for the returned pill. The supervisor says it goes back to the medicine hall, but our hero suggests an idea. If the team members combine forces to defeat the temporary leader, they should get the pill. The supervisor agrees, thinking it is good motivation. Back in the present, our boy finishes explaining, and then he tells them to challenge him anytime before the goo poison match. Immediately, the team members sprint outside to get their weapons, shouting that Tang Yeonmyoung is done for. Watching them go, our protagonist resolves not to go easy on them. In fact, he decides that if he becomes the young clan leader, he will ensure everyone gets a heavenly heart pill. Afterwards, he walks outside to sort out the pecking order. Seasons pass, and the team has grown a lot. In the middle of a fight, our boy hits Ijeon away and asks how many times Ijeon has lost. Ijeon replies about 173 times. Mirio asks if our hero ever gets tired, while Yuri admits she gave up fighting long ago and just lives to see Yeonmyoung's face. Mirio blushes and agrees it is fun to watch him. Finally, our boy extends a hand to Ijeon, stating that since Ijeon accepted defeat, our boy will take the position. Ijeon takes his hand, saying he cannot imagine Yeonmyoung losing to other teams. The supervisor then approaches and praises their growth, formally appointing participant number 28 as the team leader. He announces that the actual goo poison match begins tomorrow. He notes other teams suffered deaths and disqualifications. However, compared to them, Group 7 is safe and has achieved growth comparable to the Bangui Brigade. He warns them one last time, explaining that in the goo poison match, the use of extreme poison except for the 10 poisons is allowed. Therefore, he tells them to maximize their capabilities. The next day, Ijeon hands a box of poisons to our protagonist. He warns that the elixir-suppressed fairy poison is lethal in a single drop and explains the ocular poison. Suddenly, he stops himself from worrying too much and asks our boy to promise he will win. Ijeon extends his fist, and our hero holds it, says yes, and playfully punches him in the face. He promises that only his teammates could ever harm him, then teleports to the ground, saying he is off. Meanwhile, Tang Young Ryong holds a container of poison, declaring that the day has finally come. She feels lucky to have the 10 poisons and a new ally. Afterwards, she enters a portal and finds instructor Jigal Changshin waiting. She asks how the Jagal family plans to assist her, and the instructor says the arena uses his family's formation, so moving her to a good position is easy. Ryong asks what they want in return, and the instructor admits his family is powerless and wants to join forces with the Tang family without losing sovereignty. Ryong realizes he wants to use her as a backer to intervene in clan matters, so she asks what happens if she rejects them later. The instructor says that is why he is building trust now. Once they finish discussing the deal, Ryong looks happy. She thinks she endured 3 years for this moment, and consequently, she vows to kill Yeonmyoung and take back her life. Elsewhere, Team 3 participant, Tang Gukrin, stands covered in blood. He holds a sword and looks disappointed, complaining that the Tang family's military force was all talk. Behind him, the bodies of the warriors who tried to train him lie dead. Finally, our boy arrives at the location. He looks around and thinks it is the perfect day for someone to die. With that, the goo poison match begins.